Hi, welcome back to Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. This is Debbie. It's been a little bit since you've heard from me, and that's because I have been planting all sorts of seeds. I've not stopped. We're still getting ready to move as well. We're still looking for property, something that's going to fit us the best for what the needs that we have. We're trying to be more sustainable, just get a little bit more land. Right now, we're in Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is gardening zone 5A, 5B. So it's a little bit early to start seeds and things like that. Actually, I kind of think we're right on time. It typically takes tomato plants and especially artichokes and some flower species quite a long time to germinate and then also to get large enough to be able to separate them and up pot them and or get them transplanted into a little bit larger containers and get them a good footing and establishment before they're transplanted outside. So that is what I'm looking at right now. I've got a couple of more trays here that I just picked up. I'm probably going to pick up a few more today. I'm really knocking it out of the park here from what I did last year. Last year, if you go back in my videos, you'll notice that I only did about 3 trays, I think it was, of plants and then a couple of little extra pots and things like that. This season, I have had so much positive remarks about getting plants from the community, and that's one of the things that I started last year was sharing the amount of plants that I grow with the community because I know how expensive that going and getting a container of plants is right now, especially if you're buying from some of those big box places. And I'm not going to name certain ones, but I will say that getting just one container with maybe a few plants in it, or one container with one plant in it, and paying almost $6 for one of those plants because it's $5.98 has been the typical price at a couple of big box places for plants, if they have plants at all, is just too much. I think the general public right now is suffering with everything that's going on in the economy and with life in general, that they really can't afford that. So I'm seeing what I can do to maybe give back to the community a little bit and provide some plants because, some people find it difficult to start seeds on their own. It's not really all that difficult. And I think sometimes that when we go and we take classes and things like that, there's classes out there available for people who want to learn how to start their own seeds and start their own plants and plant their own gardens and things like that. Can be a little bit too complicated. And I say that as someone who is right now finishing up her certificate for the Master Gardener program. And I've got to do my volunteer hours right now for the Master Gardeners program. And in my personal opinion of all of that, I think that the classes are just too technical for some people. Sometimes they're too technical for me. And I don't think you have to put that much thought process into starting plants. It's not as complicated as it is made out to be. Um, and you don't even really need special growing lights and special trays or special racks or anything like that to put plants on or get them started on, or special soils and all of that. Of course, I now have gotten a couple of extra trays because I ran out of trays that I can recycle. I usually continue using the same trays year to year until they are absolutely to the point that they're falling apart. I have not invested in getting those special trays with the reusable trays and things like that because I haven't really seen the purpose. To me, they look like they have more plastic. The plastic is thicker. In those, doesn't look like it would break down as easy if you do get to the point where you have to dispose of them. So that's just not a sustainable option for me. And then I've also looked at and have used the breakable or the biodegradable containers. I've gotten a few of those this year, and I don't find them as cost efficient. I don't find them as biodegradable as they claim to be. I have seen them restrict growth, especially in the roots of plants. And another thing I have not invested in is soil blockers. I've had a little bit experience with some soil blocking before. And for me, I don't like the consistency of the soil that it makes because you have to make the soil so hard when you're blocking the soil that that it doesn't fall apart before you get to the point of transplanting it outside, and they tend to dry out really fast. So you're in that situation of where they dry out really fast. The soil is hard, and if you water them, you have this fear of the soil breaking down, and you're ending up in a situation where you're going to have to put the plants, if the plant has came up, into something that isn't as sustainable as probably just having a soil block would be. And then also, you're looking at, with the soil block being so hard, because it has to stay hard in order to keep the form that it has from the soil block, that it has a difficult time coming up, that the roots are kind of restricted from being able to spread out and grow like you would really want them to be. So for me, soil blocking is not a sustainable option for me, and neither is the biodegradable containers, even though that seems like an absolutely great idea, and I still think it's a great idea. I just don't think the technology is there yet for us to be able to use that in a sustainable method, especially if you have large scale planting that's going on. I don't have a huge garden, but I do use and have a lot of different plants, hundreds of different plants. So for me, it's just not a cost efficient, sustainable option. I do much, much better with having these trays. These trays will last me probably 10 years or so if I'm just really careful with them and take really good care of them. So as I was saying, it's just not a cost-efficient method for me to have the biodegradable containers. These last me far longer. My daughter just got home with my grandson, and they had went out swimming at the local pool, indoor pool. So they just got home. Anyway, those are much more efficient for me, and usually I do home collect all of my own seeds, which we have done a lot of, and I have started a lot of those. But I also like to start seeds that I get in packages. And this year I have ran across some really great deals. These were some seeds that I had from last season that I had gotten from the plant swap, and these were actually free. So these are some snapdragons. So we're going to be planting a lot of flowers this season. We've got some coleus that was left over from last season that we do need to get started. The coleus, I have noticed, is definitely a lot of people are really liking the coleus and using them in hanging containers. So I think we're going to start a lot of these this year and maybe give them out to the public. And I have gotten lots and lots and lots of different seeds here lately. Just all kinds of cherry tomatoes and all kinds of flowers. But you can see all of the seed packets that I have obtained, and these are only a fraction of them. My daughter's also gotten a lot of seed packets as well that we're going to go through, and we're going to be trying a whole lot of different flowers that we haven't done before, and we're going to be growing a whole lot more in containers. I've gotten so many containers from the public that have brought me containers. In fact, they're just people that are coming and dropping containers off. I come home sometimes from being out and running errands, and I come back and I'm like, oh, there's a whole new block of containers out there that I didn't know anything about. I also ordered this season from Dollar Tree some stackable containers. These are small ones. I didn't expect them to be that small. I had ordered the larger ones, but for some reason they sent me the smaller ones instead. But we will still find a use for these. I think they're kind of cute. We could probably put strawberries in them, or some smaller plants, things like that, succulents and stuff in these containers. We have got a few of those. And they do stack tier, I think, to 5 tier. And then we do have some larger ones as well that I just picked up. I'm actually sitting at my dining room table right now. So here are those.
You can keep stacking.
This is the Dollar Tree ones. They're pretty nice. They're actually a lot thicker than I thought they were. And We do have these over here, which have the self-watering system in them, kind of like the green stalk planters. That's my grandson peeking around the edge. And they have a wheeling mechanism on the bottom, just like the green stalk, so they kind of spin around and things like that. And they go up 5 tier as well. I could probably get some more tiers and keep adding them to them, make them a 7 tier or even more, as long as they can contain and hold the soil, because they get pretty heavy at that point. So we have a whole lot of that going on. And then my daughter had gotten some more strawberries. We have quite a few strawberries that have made it through the winter outside. I have been checking on those. So we have quite a few of those. We have the mountain strawberries, and we have Quinaults and Ozark and the All-Stars. And then we have, oh goodness, there was another one, and I forgot the name of it. And it's been really hardy.
But
and
these
then
are the pink flamingos because they're supposed to be pink, and Bills was wanting them.
Yes, and she picked these up. These are pink flamingo strawberries. I think we're also going to pick up some of the alpine strawberries if I can find those, which are supposed to be really well acclimated to this type of weather here. And then we also have the blush rose basket strawberries outside in our front containers. So we have a whole lot of things going on this year. We're going to be doing some expanding here.
Oh, the ruby treasures are also at front.
Yep. So we've got a whole lot of expanding that we're going to be doing, a whole lot of planting that we're going to be doing, a lot more containers that we are contemplating. I've got another kiddie pool to convert, which is a much larger kiddie pool than I've ever used in the past. And there may be a possibility that my grandson's kiddie pool may not hold water again this season, so we may have to get another one of those. And that one may have to be converted as well. We just have to test it out and see.
That's the largest kiddie pool that they make, too.
Yeah, and so we've got a whole lot of all of this going on, more trays, and I've got more trays to get. I want to get started on these trays, but I think that I need to get a couple more because we just don't have enough for all of these that we're going to be doing. And I have a couple of racks. My daughter just made a funny little thing. She stacked all of those stackable containers up, and they are just going and going and going. I'm going to have the Leaning Tower of Babylon here. So anyway, that's what all we're doing this evening. Let me know down in the comments below what you are starting, or have you started your seeds, and what you're looking at growing for this season coming up, and what you're excited about. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notices on new videos as they come out, and we'll see you in the next one.